So all of us were in hopes that this particular new pope who was going to be selected was going to be a black pope, and was going to be a black pope who was the first pope to be selected from Africa, or of African descent in the past 2,000 years. So many Africans were in high spirit, but instead we got a pope from America. His real name, or the name, is Robert Prevost, but then he goes by the name Cardinal Robert Prevost. Now, during the Vatican, during their elections, or during their the time that they were secretly voting to take or get a new pope, we realized that they tried various times, and for the first two times, per the Vatican rules and regulations, and also their tradition, whenever a black smoke comes out from the chimney, it means that they were not successful in getting a new pope, or they've not really selected a new pope, or that particular rounds of elections had failed, and then no pope who was in for running had got the necessary vote, the number of votes to be declared as a pope. But then after two or so times, we realized that the smoke which was coming from the chimney was white, which indicated that a new pope has been chosen. So all of us were in high hopes that this particular pope was going to be from Africa, but instead it came to light that this particular pope was from America, by the name Cardinal Robert Prevost, and he chose the name. As tradition demands, according to the Vatican, he has to get a name for himself, pick many of the names which is there, and he chose the name Pope Leo SIV. Now, many Africans are really pissed off, saying that even though there are about 1.5 billion Catholics in the whole wide world, we also want to have a representation. And for the past years, we've gotten a pope from America, a pope from Asia, a pope from South America, and even a pope from the Americas, a pope from Europe. But then we've not gotten any pope from Africa. So many Africans are still in really great shock, and also they are kind of sad. But then this particular next report gives a broader view of what people were expecting during this particular serious or secretive Vatican elections to select a new pope.
After the demise of Pope Francis, Africans have been enthusiastic about the possibility of having an African person standing in as a pope, which they seem to see it as a way to revive the African faith once again in Africa and across the globe. Now, there have been certain names popping up as to these people being Africans, and then they have much belief in them that they fit into the role of being popes. Now, I have my brother Chris here. Chris, welcome to the studios once again.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I'm sure we've seen a lot of things happening lately with the demise of Pope Francis, as well as a voting process going on to choose a new pope, and our people as Africans are hopeful that certainly we're going to have one African to be a pope. Why is it so?
Well, thank you very much. You know, we've never had an African pope.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, for all these years in the Catholic, we've never had an African pope. So Africans, you know, we have a lot of Christians here. It's actually Christian-dominated continent. So they would love to have one of their own as the new pope elected for the
conclave.
Yes, yeah. Yes. So that is why they are calling for the election of an African pope.
Wow. So looking at it, since there's never been an African person being a pope, we've seen Pope John Paul, Pope Francis, and all that. Why is it that this time around we need an African? And in Ghana, do we also have a chance of having somebody to stand in as a pope?
Okay, so in 1978, for 455 years coming down, we were having popes that were from Italy. They were all from Italy until 1978 that they elected Pope John Paul. He was from Poland, or he is from Poland. So he's a Polish. So he came to break that Italian run of popes in the Catholicism. Let me put it that way. So in 1978, he came in to break that run. Yeah.
Wow. So as it stands now, who are some of the people that Africans are hopeful that they are eligible for the position of the Pope?
So we have some from Africa here, just as we've said already, that we are hoping that they can win the election and be the next pope for the Catholic fraternity. But as we have on our screens here, we have some popes, some cardinals that they are likely one of these cardinals here will assume the throne as the next pope. Okay. So we have Robert Francis Prevost. He is from USA. Okay. So he's one of them. We have Matteo Zuppi. He's from Italy. He is also one of them. So we have 3 Italians. We have Pietro Parolin from Italy. We have Luis Antonio Gokin. He's from Philippines. And he's one of them that most Catholics are talking about. They feel like he is likely to win the election.
Has there ever been a Philippine pope?
No.
Okay.
No. From Asia, we've never had any pope.
From Africa too.
From Africa too. So he is from Asia, and he's most talked about. Then we have our very own Peter Kojo Appiah-Texan, who is in Ghana, 76 years old, and we are hoping that he can also win. So as you can see here, he's the only African who has been tagged, or we have hope in him that he will be able to win, from Ghana, our very own. Then we have Pier Battista from Italy. He's also from Italy. He's also part of those that we feel that they can also win. Then we have Peter Edo from Hungary. So these are the cardinals that we think, yes, they can assume the throne of the Pope.
Wow. So in all, I could say we have about 7 names on our chat here who are hopeful, and then looking at it, the eligible cardinals to be popes as it stands now. But let's come to our very own Peter Appiah-Texan. What is his chances of being the pope?
So after Pope John Paul, he was tipped. His name popped up that he's likely to assume the throne, and he didn't get it as at that time. Then Pope Benedict came. Pope Benedict is the first to resign as a pope since 1415.
He resigned.
Okay. He resigned as the pope. So after his resignation, we still came back and mentioned Peter Appiah-Texan's name, hoping that he can assume the throne, and he still didn't get. So as we got to this part that we lost Pope Francis, now the burial is done. Now we need to elect a new pope. His name is still popping up. So out of these 7 people, it has been limited to these 7 people that they feel out of these 7 people, we will get a pope. And it is likely we'll get a pope who is an African and a Ghanaian.
Wow. Is it only Ghanaians supporting Peter Appiah-Texan as it stands now? We have other people from other African countries and across the globe vouching for Peter Appiah-Texan.
Well, so all the African fraternity wish we had an African pope.
Okay.
Because yes, the pope carries weight.
Okay.
Yes, so he's very powerful as well. So the whole of Africa wish we have an African pope. It's not only Peter Appiah-Texan. We have a pope from Congo.
Yeah.
We have an Ivorian pope. And Ivorian cardinals that we are also looking up to them, that they can also assume the throne of the pope. So the entire African Christian fraternity, the Catholic fraternity, are backing their own people. So for the very first time, we'll have a black pope. We'll have a pope who is an African.
Okay, so lastly, for those of us watching who don't really know much about this whole Catholicism and this whole pope title, what's so special about this pope thing?
Well, he is the head of the entire Catholic Church.
So he makes decisions?
He makes decisions. And he is very powerful. You know, we have about 1.8 billion people in the whole world who are Catholics. So it can tell you how powerful he can be.
1.8 billion
yes,
Catholics. Hey!
In the world.
Wow.
So this should tell you how powerful the man that is the head of these this number of people can be.
So that is why a lot of people are wishing that an African can also head 1.8 billion people. Wow, very, very interesting. So looking at it, if when is this voting process taking place? Oh,
well, it is still ongoing as currently as we are speaking now. It is still ongoing, and when they stepped out, BBC, they stepped out. They asked questions, people from all over the world, bringing their suggestions or who they think will be okay for them. So if they come and ask you who you think should be the next pope, I'm sure you mentioned someone from your place.
the only person I know now.
Yes, but we also have other people who feels like, I mean, whoever assumes the throne should be someone who they think they are okay with. I mean, they are happy to have him as their pope. But there are other people too, just as you said, they mention their very own. I mean, if you are from Philippines, when they ask you, they are mentioning their very own Luis Antonio Joaquim, who people is the most talked about cardinal in this 7, as we also talk about Peter Apiatek. Yes, so they are ready for anybody who will assume the throne.
Okay.
Yes. So.
Okay. So that is all about this whole pope process, selection of a new pope process, and then we would be following March on this issue. We'll give you more updates on this and more.